Hello, welcome back to the channel. Nigel here with you, Nigel's Modelling Bench, and here we have pack 11 now already. This has literally just arrived about 20 minutes ago. So today is Thursday the 11th of April 2024, and this is the Hachette 1/32 scale Lancaster bomber B.III, all done up as a Dambuster, the Type 464 provisioning it was called. So getting on with this build, lovely. The detail is lovely. It is very nice indeed. And if you want to join in, there's a link going up now. You can scan the QR code, go to the website below, and you'll also see in the description below this video, there's a link you can go to and you can see a YouTube video of the finished development model all built up and on its stand and everything and how it's going to work. Bear in mind that is the development model. A lot of the gaps are quite big. There's no dihedral on the wings. There's a few bits and pieces. So go and have a look at that. But bear in mind, it is a development model. Obviously, they have to... they have to make something to show you what the end product's going to kind of look like. They do a 3D printed sort of, make 2 or 3 of them, I expect. So that, because this is a part work, they can't show you the finished model because it isn't done yet. So there we go. Anyway, so here we are now with pack 11. So we've got the magazine here. We'll go through and have a look. So what we've got in here, this is all what the contents of the magazine is. This is the finished model on its display. As you can see there, over the dam, it's going to have spinning props and undercarriage that works and all sorts of bits and pieces. So and here we've got the contact details. Apparently Hachette's customer service is amazing. I can tell you the communication I have with them is incredible. So very, very good indeed. Right, so what do we have here? We have all the parts to build this section. So we've got the instructions here, so we're not going to worry about that at the moment. So here we go, the Lancaster cockpit. The cockpit from where the pilot and the flight engineer flew the aircraft was the nerve centre of the Lancaster bomber. So seating and flying controls. So the two men sat by side. The two men sat side by side up front, the pilot on the left and the flight engineer to his right. Well, they didn't actually sit side by side. The flight engineer had a sort of fold down seat that was kind of next to the pilot, but that sort of implies that it's 2 seats like you get in any other aircraft, but they weren't like that. The flight engineer spent a lot of his time stood up. So the pilot's critical importance was actually flying the plane, and the flight engineer looked after all the engines and everything. So you've got all the description of the instrument panel here. We've got Eric Winkle Brown remembers life in the cockpit. That guy was amazing. It'd be interesting to read that. They've got life in the cockpit. And here we can see some Lancasters being assembled. These are clearly early Lancs because they've got the green on the front there. So remember with Lancasters, depending which factory they came from, I speak to a guy called Chris who's an absolute mine of information, all this sort of stuff. All early Lancasters had green all the way from the nose blister all the way back, all the way through the cockpit, and then sometime late 43, early 44, the nose area was painted black, and then sort of by the end of 44, the whole cockpit area all the way back to the main wing spar was black. Some aircraft had green pedestals and green seats, but most had a black upper surface on the pedestal and a black seat. It all depends on where they came from. That's very highly sort of, you need to have a high level of reference material to find all that stuff out. So here we have the Focke-Wulf FW200 Condor. If you want to get one of these, you can get that in 48 scale from Trumpeter, or you can get it in 72nd scale from Revell. And they're both very nice kits, I believe. So Scourge of the Atlantic, these things used to go out and hunt down ships and everything. And then on the back we've got what's coming in issue 12. So we're really starting to get this cockpit together now. So we've got the operator's seat, back panel and cushions, hydraulic base and reservoir railing, and assorted screws. So we've got assorted screws. We're really going to start building stuff. Right, so here's our parts for pack 11. We'll get the light on because we're getting to parts now, not just the magazine. So what have we got in here? We have 2 bags of parts. And some very nicely detailed parts they are too. Let's get these bags open. It's always a bit of a chore, but they are very worthwhile keeping because they're great for putting bits and pieces in. So there we are. So there's all our parts. So we've got the actual main partition there. They decided to paint that bit there black. They haven't on there. We've got the that's the support for the seat. This is actually the navigator's seat. We've got this. Yeah, here we go. This is where we're starting to get inaccurate now. 11E is the H2S scope unit. No, that's actually the G. That's the G there, and the H2S is what we fitted that they called the G in the last one. Here is a radio. That's the 1154 or 55. This is the 1155 or 54, one or the other. And then we've got this 11H. 11G, that's the 1154, and that's the 1155. There we go, I was right. This one here is the back of the receiver, and this one here is the back of the transmitter, and this one here is equipment detail optional. Okay, it'd be interesting to see what that is. Right, so let's get into this build. I'm not going to glue anything because were there any special notes? Yes, parts 11D and 11E were only fitted to later Lancasters, so you may prefer to omit these parts. Right, parts 11D and 11E were only fitted to later Lancasters. This was actually a shelf to put the G radio on, whereas the G used to be in the place of the H2S. I will show you how to change all this and modify and make it all work in another video. I'm not going to go into it in this one. We'll put it together as per the instructions, but if you want to make your model more accurate, you can follow along with me, and I will show you how to do that. So basically this is a G radio and this is a shelf for the G. When they put the H2S on the right hand side of the navigator behind the pilot's seat, there was no room for the G, so they moved the G over to the left of the navigator and mounted it on the bulkhead, as we're doing in this model. On previous aircraft where they only had the G on the right hand side, so if a Lancaster didn't have the big belly underneath, the big bulge under the back end, they didn't have H2S, so then they wouldn't have had the H2S radio and they wouldn't have had fish pond. If they had G on the right hand side of the navigator, on the left hand side of the navigator on the bulkhead, they often had one of those. Sorry, they often had the 1155 wireless receiver mounted there. Okay, so there you are. Right, so we're going to go into the build. As I say, I'm going to do another video on accurizing everything. We're going to add some wiring, we're going to add some bits and pieces, we're going to change some colours and change the seat belts and this, that and the other. So in these instructions here, it's telling us take the support pole stay and partition and the equipment detail 11I. A rectangular peg on part 11 fits into a hole on the navigator's side of part 11. Apply a little super glue to the peg to hold this part in place. So 11I, I believe that was the optional one, wasn't it? Yes, so this is optional. So this is going to fit. There is a rectangular peg and that's going to fit into there, and you should glue it. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that is. I'm going to have to look it up. They don't tell you in here what it is. So there we go. So that's that in there. Then it's saying take the H2S scope unit 11E. That's interesting. They're calling it H2S scope unit. It's actually a G. And support 11D. Check how they fit together. Noting the orientation. A D-shaped peg. Dum 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 dum. Right. So there's a D-shaped peg on there. Okay. And there's a D-shaped hole in there. So they are just going to push. Actually, there's a bit of flash on there. I'm going to get a radius knife blade and just remove that from there. Here we go. And then we can put that into there. It's a snug fit. It's a very snug fit. It's so snug, in fact, it doesn't want to go. So what we can do is just take our knife and just scrape some paint, or you could file it or sand it, however. Just remove some from the flat of that D, and that should help it to go together. There we go. So that's got in there now, absolutely fine. Okay, and then this is then in turn going to go onto this bulkhead here, which is correct for a later Lancaster but not correct for a Dambuster. Okay, so if you're using this interior on the other, the wooden type, the one that you panel, the other part work, then if you want to go for a later length with H2S, you can put that there and everything. I'm not pushing that right in because I'm going to be removing it. And then here we're going to take the transmitter 11G and the back 11H. So the transmitter 11G, that was the smaller one, wasn't it? No, the level one, it was the bigger one. 1154 11G. Okay, so this one and this one. Again, we've got a D-shaped pin on there, and we've got a D-shaped hole in there. And that's going to go into there. It's a nice tight fit. And this is applicable for all Lancasters. Well, pretty much all Lancasters. And then I'm going to take this one here, which is the smaller one, and push that one into there. You can hear it's a nice tight fit. I'm just going to push it down on the bench. There we go. And then we're going to take this here and we're going to put the transmitter, the bigger one, on top. And you can see we have holes in here, which are big hole, small hole, big pin, small pin. So that's going to sit in there with some glue normally. And then this one, again, big pin, small pin, big hole, small hole. And that one's going to go underneath it, just like that. You can see that's a lovely little display there. You'll be able to see all this because you take the top of the cockpit off and it's all going to be there on show. And then on the side of here, we have this support going in for the navigator's seat. And that's going to need gluing because it's not a very tight fit. And then we can just pop the navigator's seat on the top of there. And they've got a D-shaped hole, which is absolutely massive compared to the pin that's going in it. So you'll need some glue on there, or that's going to fall off. So that's that. Going over the page, it's now asking us to fit this to the navigator's table, which I have over here. I've just dropped the shaft out of. Okay, so they're telling us now to put this assembly here, this bulkhead here is going to go into that hole there. Okay, so we're going to hook the seat under, and then we're going to push that hole into the top of the peg, into the hole in the top of the table there. Now I'm not putting all this together permanently because, as I keep saying, I'm going to be taking it all apart. And then this here, this bulkhead, we've got 2 pins on there, and that they're going to go into those 2 holes on there on the end of the table. So you can see now we've got a lovely, let's get these instructions out of the way. We've got a lovely complex little assembly there. You can see the detail is stunning. Okay, and then we've got section 11. We're going to fit this into our cockpit floor. So we've got these two pins here. They're going to go into those 2 holes there. And we've got these 2 pins here, and they're going to go into those 2 holes there. Now I've lost a box from there. Let me just grab that a second. It's falling apart because I'm not gluing it together, guys, because I'm going to be taking it apart to repaint it all. It's nothing derogatory about the model at all. So that's going to go into there. Now I don't know why, I haven't pushed that right down, so we're going to have a little bit of an issue fitting this. But basically they're all going to go in like that. Okay, so that's going in there like that. That's going in there, but it's not going into the hole purely because I haven't pushed that bulkhead all the way down, because I don't want it to snap when I try and take it apart. So there you can see we've got our wireless operator's position, we've got our navigator's position, he's got his H2S over here, he's got his G over here, so we're going to be putting that over there and shortening this post. Okay, and then it's telling us to fit the cockpit section up here. It's going to go into the floor like that. Alright, so now we have a pretty much complete interior. And even out of the box, you know, it's a term used by modelers, out of the box means straight out of the box with no modifications, nothing added. This is very, very nice indeed. It really is. Very impressive. So there we go. So that's been part 11, guys. So, or pack 11, should I say. So come back in a few days, a couple of days, whatever, and you'll see pack 12 in amongst a load of other videos I'm doing. And I'll see you then for that one. So thank you for watching. Any questions or anything, pop them down below. Don't Don't forget, if you want to join in, you can still subscribe from pack 1. If you've already got pack 1, 2, 3, say, you can subscribe to pack 4. And when you do subscribe, you buy one, you'll get the next one free. You'll get all the free gifts, and what else was I going to say? Yes, you can subscribe if you've already got, say, the first 3 parts. Say you've bought them at your local newsagents or whatever, or you can subscribe from part 1. Part 1 is just $1.99. Well worth having, because it's a bargain for $1.99. You get lots in there. Right, I'll see you all soon for part 12 or pack 12. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.